Hi guys, happy Wednesday. We wanted to focus on our buddy here, Christy Noem, and this press conference on June 12th, I believe, against Alex Padilla when she claims that he lunged on her. Okay, and this is what she says. She lunged at him. At her. And what's interesting is we have a pattern here of her lies. So that June 12th should have been a red flag for us, because we're going to show you the press conferences after Renee, Nicole Good, and after Alex Padilla, and how much she lies. She's a liar, okay? I'm just telling you for a fact. And interesting enough, guess who this is? Haha, surprise! Our buddy Bovino was with her during this LA protest press conference on June 12th, the same time where Senator Alex Padilla came into the room to ask her questions, and he was manhandled by ICE agents. So those ICE agents are out of control. Christy Noem in her lies is out of control. But we need to look at, when did this start? It obviously did not start on June 12th, but this is the biggest indicator of the fact that they did this to a U.S. senator, what they were going to do to U.S. citizens, because Alex Padilla is a U.S. citizen, FYI. So if they're going to do that to Alex Padilla, a U.S. citizen, guess what happened to Renee, Nicole Good? Guess what happened to Alex Padilla? Alex Pretti. So that's it. So let's just listen to what she says, and look what happened, and look what they did to Alex Padilla, the senator, and look at Bovino's face. He is unfazed. And then I will go over the other two press conferences where she also lies.
So I want to say thank you to every single person that has been able to do this. Also, I want to talk specifically to the rioters and to the politicians in Los Angeles. I also want to talk about specifically how many of our ICE agents have been doxxed for doing their duty, how they have been targeted.
The fact of the matter is,
look, this is how they treat a U.S. senator. And it's one thing to do that in the room, but after they get outside the room, which we've seen this video. Look at this dude. This is the same ICE mentality that they have on the streets. It's a fucking goon squad. They do this to a U.S. senator. It is unacceptable. Look at this dude. Look at this dude. Look at these three dudes. They're handcuffing a U.S. senator, and then they're telling that there's no recording to a U.S. senator. We thought that this was okay. It is not okay. And the reason why it was not okay is because what we're seeing today in Minneapolis, in Minnesota, and other places is because we allowed this to continue from June 12th.
That's my boss. There's no recording allowed here. There's no recording allowed. I'm not a member. There's no recording allowed. I understand that, sir, but...
Oh, you know what? I don't even know the senator. He did not request a meeting with me or to speak with me. So when I leave here, I'll have a conversation with him and visit and find out really what his concerns were. I think everybody in America would agree that that wasn't appropriate. That if you wanted to have a civil discussion, especially as a leader, a public...
It was not appropriate. What? Which was it? To manhandle him, to arrest him, to handcuff a U.S. senator? Okay. No. He didn't lunge. He was just there to ask questions. So what was inappropriate is the lies that she's telling us, and what her goon squad did to a U.S. senator. And this dude, look at this dude.
Official, that you would reach out and try to have a conversation. For instance, I have left voicemails for Governor Newsom wanting to have a conversation. Has he returned them? No, he hasn't. I know that the White House has reached out and had conversations with Mayor Bass as well. And so that's what you do to try to start these conversations and ask for partnerships. Unfortunately, we haven't met that in this area. I'll visit with the senator and find out really what his concerns are and then what we can do.
Okay, we don't need to listen to Padilla, Senator Padilla, because we know what he's going to say is the truth. So this is Kristi Noem on January 7th, I believe, when Renee Nicole Good got pewed, and this is her response calling her domestic tea. Lying, flat out lying, just like the last press conference saying that Senator Alex Padilla lunged at her.
You asked about a shooting that we just had in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It was an act of domestic terror.
So I just want to make sure you understand what they did to Senator Alex Padilla. The way they do it is basically project and lie and say he was lunging. So that lunging was met with the unequal force that they gave Senator Padilla. And here she's covering up JR's four pews to Renee Nicole's Good by calling her domestic tea. And we're going to see the same thing with Alex Pretti, the 3 times that he was sprayed, the 3 shots that I saw at least of pistol whipping, pew whipping, and at least 10 rounds to him. And it's disproportionate force against him that is not necessary. And she has to say that he is a domestic tea. And that's literally what she's saying here with Renee. Listen to her.
Terrorism. What happened was our ICE officers were out in an enforcement action. They got stuck in the snow because of the adverse weather that is in Minneapolis. They were attempting to push out their vehicle, and a woman attacked them and those surrounding them and attempted to run them over and ram them with her vehicle. An officer of ours acted quickly and defensively shot to protect himself and the people around him. And my understanding is that she was hit and is deceased. We're continuing to gather more information, but this goes to show the assaults that our ICE officers and our law enforcement are under every single day. These vehicle rammings are domestic acts of terrorism. We're working with the Department of Justice to prosecute them as such. We will continue to protect our ICE officers and in cooperation with other law enforcement agencies as well. You've seen me in the last couple of days deploy over 2,000 more officers to the Minneapolis area. And in the last 2 days, we've arrested hundreds and hundreds of dangerous criminals, not just fraudsters who stole from the American people billions of dollars and put it in their pockets and enriched their friends from overseas and themselves, but also individuals who committed acts of murder and rape and trafficking and drug exploitation and child exploitation.
Okay, blah, blah, blah. Okay, we got it. All right, here she is about Alex Pretti. Okay, just a few days ago, 3 days ago.
Take any questions and give more details on the storm and its impact. I do want to address the tragic situation that we saw in Minneapolis today that unfolded on the streets. It occurred with DHS law enforcement as they carried out their lawful duties to keep Americans safe in the threat of criminal illegal aliens in this country. At 9:05 a.m., Central Time, the Department of Homeland Security law enforcement officials and officers were conducting targeted operations in Minneapolis against an illegal alien whose criminal history included domestic assault with intentionally inflicting bodily harm, disorderly conduct, and driving without a valid license. An individual approached U.S. Border Patrol officers with a 9mm semi-automatic handgun. The officers attempted to disarm this individual, but the armed suspect reacted violently. Fearing for his life and for the lives of his fellow officers around him, an agent fired defensive shots. Medics were on the scene immediately and attempted to deliver medical aid to the subject, but he was pronounced dead at the scene. The suspect also had 2 magazines with ammunition in them that held dozens of rounds. He also had no ID. This looks like a situation where an individual arrived at the scene to inflict maximum damage on individuals and to kill law enforcement. About hundreds of protesters then showed up at the scene. They began to obstruct and to assault law enforcement officers. We saw objects being thrown at them, including ice.
Okay, that's enough. I think you got it, okay? The key is Alex Padilla. This press conference back in June 12th, 2025 in LA, where Alex Padilla was asking her questions, and ICE and DHS and FBI, the one dude had an FBI, 1 or 2 dudes had an FBI vest on, who knows exactly if they were or not, but they're there. And then you have Bovino in here, okay? Guest appearance. This is where we did not know his name, we didn't know what he did, we didn't know his role into Minnesota. And so this is the key. June 12th is what we did not know that they were going to do to us. And we didn't pay attention. We did say to everybody, as everybody else did say, that you can't do this to a senator. And everybody thought that that was okay. We now know it was not okay. And I hope that makes sense now, that it's 7 months later, and because of this press conference and what happened this press conference, what happened after this press conference, and who is there and what they did is why we're in this situation right now in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and elsewhere. So this needs to stop. The line needs to be stopped. If it's removal, if it's impeachment, she gots to go. If Bovino's going, she gots to go, and everybody associated with any paper that she is reading off with the lies, calling Renee Nicole good at domestic tea, the paper that she just read off, which I'll go back to show you that somebody sent her that. They printed it out and she read it, and then she puts that paper of what happened aside. Watch.
This looks like a situation where an individual arrived at the scene to inflict maximum damage on individuals and to kill
Watch the paper. That's the piece of paper. Somebody wrote that. If it's Stephen Miller, if it's Lauren Dodsky, if it's somebody else, a combination of those asshats, whoever it was, they wrote it in an email. Somebody printed it out for her. When she's giving this press conference, she printed it out, and literally verbatim, she said those lies. So she will be prosecuted, as we said, in 2027. That's what her astrology shows. But everybody associated with these lies should be held accountable too. I have no idea to the extent of what they did behind the scenes, but what we do know is what she's done. Here, and here. And that's it.